Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because tonight's story is going to crawl under your skin. We've all driven down a dark, lonely road at night, right? The kind where your headlights barely cut through the fog, and every shadow feels like it's watching you. Well, this is a true story from 2017, when I was a delivery driver working the graveyard shift in rural Virginia. I was 27, just trying to make ends meet, driving through back roads to drop off packages. It was supposed to be a boring job. Long hours, empty roads, nothing but the radio for company. But one night, something happened on those roads that I'll never forget. It wasn't a ghost story or some urban legend. It was real, and it changed how I see the world. So buckle up, turn down the lights, and let's dive into this unnerving encounter on the road at night. My job was simple: pick up packages from a warehouse and deliver them to small towns across Virginia. Most of my routes took me through these winding two-lane back roads, surrounded by dense forests or open fields that stretched into nothing. At night, those roads were dead quiet, no cars, no houses, just you and the darkness. I'd crank the radio to stay awake, but sometimes the static would creep in, like the signal couldn't quite reach me. My delivery van was this old beat-up thing with creaky doors and headlights that flickered if you hit a bump too hard. The first few weeks were fine, just long and lonely. But I always felt uneasy on Route 17, a narrow road that cut through a stretch of woods locals called the Hollow. It was the kind of place where your gut tells you to keep driving, no matter what. And then one night I found out why. It was around 1 a.m. on a freezing February night, and I was halfway through my route on the Hollow. The radio was cutting in and out, spitting static. I was tired, sipping bad coffee, when I saw something odd. A pair of shoes sitting in the middle of the road. Just shoes, no laces. Perfectly placed like someone left them there on purpose. I slowed down, thinking it was a prank, but my headlights caught something else. A faint handprint on the road, smeared in what looked like mud. My stomach dropped. I got out to check, my flashlight shaking in my hand. The air was dead still, no wind, no crickets. I called out, "Hello? Anyone there?" Nothing. But as I turned back to the van, I heard it. A low, raspy hum like someone chanting far away. It was coming from the woods. I jumped back in the van and peeled out, my heart racing. I tried to forget that night, but a week later it got worse. I was back on Route 17, same time, same creepy stretch of road. The fog was thicker than usual, so thick my headlights barely cut through it. I was driving slow when I saw it. A figure standing on the shoulder just outside the beam of my lights. It was tall, too tall, and it didn't move, just stood there, head tilted. I slammed on the brakes, my hands sweaty on the wheel. I flashed my high beams, but the figure was gone. Just fog and empty road. My radio started crackling, and through the static, I swear I heard a voice say, "Keep driving." My blood ran cold. I floored it, but for the rest of the night I kept checking my mirrors, expecting to see that figure behind me. At the warehouse, I told a coworker, an older guy named Hank who'd driven these routes for years. He didn't laugh. Instead, he got real quiet and said, "You saw it, didn't you? The thing on Route 17. He told me about a driver from the 90s who quit after seeing something on that road, a tall figure that followed his truck for miles. The driver, Eddie, swore it wasn't human. He started having nightmares, hearing voices telling him to pull over. One night, Eddie's truck was found abandoned on Route 17, engine running, no sign of him. Hank said the locals avoid that road after dark, claiming it's cursed. "Don't stop, no matter what you see," he warned. "It wants you to stop." I laughed it off, but his words stuck with me. I should have listened to Hank, but I kept driving the route. One night, around 2 a.m., the van started acting up, headlights flickering, engine sputtering. I was deep in the hollow when I saw it again. The figure, closer this time, standing in the middle of the road. It was tall, thin, with no clear face, just a dark silhouette. I swerved to avoid it, nearly crashing into a ditch. My radio went haywire, blasting static mixed with that same raspy hum I'd heard before. I floored the gas, but in my rearview mirror, the figure was keeping pace, gliding along the road like it wasn't even touching the ground. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. I screamed, "Leave me alone!" But the hum just got louder. The van died completely a mile later. No power, no lights, just silence. The fog was so thick I couldn't see 10 feet ahead. I locked the doors, grabbed my flashlight, and tried my phone, no signal. That's when I heard it. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, circling the van. My flashlight caught glimpses of movement outside, but every time I turned, it was gone. Then the windows started fogging up, not from the weather, from the inside. Handprints appeared on the glass, one by one pressing against it. I screamed, banging on the horn, but it didn't work. A voice whispered through the radio, clear as day, "Get out." I don't know how long I sat there, frozen, waiting for it to get in. Then, just as suddenly, the van roared back to life and the handprints vanished. I drove like hell, didn't stop until I hit the warehouse. I quit that night, didn't even wait for my last paycheck. I told Hank what happened, and he just nodded like he'd seen it coming. A few days later, I found something in my van, a small crumpled piece of paper with the words Route 17 scrawled on it. I didn't put it there. I burned it, moved out of Virginia, and swore off night driving. But the nightmares followed me. Endless roads, that figure in my mirror, that raspy hum. Whatever was out there, it wasn't just a ghost. It was something else. Something that knew my name and wanted me to stop. I still check my mirrors at night, half expecting to see it again. I've tried to move on, but it's hard. I don't drive at night anymore, and I avoid rural roads like the plague. I looked up Route 17 online a year later, and there were stories, other drivers, hikers, even locals who'd seen things out there. Missing persons cases, abandoned cars, all tied to that stretch of road. The official explanation was wild animals or bad weather, but I know better. I tried to find Hank, but he'd quit too, disappeared like Eddie. Whatever's on that road, it's still out there waiting for someone to stop. I'm telling you this because you need to know. Some roads aren't safe after dark. They're not empty. They're watching. That's my story, guys. I swear every word is true. I still hear that hum sometimes when it's quiet, and I check my mirrors more than I should. If you've got a creepy road story, something you saw or felt out there in the dark, drop it in the comments. It helps knowing I'm not alone. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more true horror stories. I've got plenty more to tell, and they're just as unsettling. Next time you're driving at night, keep your eyes on the road. And maybe don't stop no matter what you see. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I'll see you in the next one.